Welcome on the pure wisdom, chosen one. They branded you insane, a dreamer, and an idiot for pursuing unattainable dreams. They laughed when you expressed your vision, humiliated you when you entered and attempted to bury you beneath their disbelief. But look at yourself now. You're standing tall, defying all expectations, and demonstrating that your genius was never a mistake. It was a threat. And those who believe they could bring you down are left in the dust, seeing you climb higher than they ever anticipated. Let's be clear. Your opponents dread you not for what you have done, but for what you intend to do. They see your might and can't bear it. Your entire existence challenges their comfort, control, and knowledge of the world. They try to stifle, denigrate, and drown out your voice, because they know deep down that a chosen one who recognizes their own power is an unstoppable force. Their world collapses the instant you enter yours. They're scared of what will happen when you discover who you actually are. Their darkest fear becomes reality. Their greatest worry is that you will awaken, because once you break free, they lose all control. Now I know you are experiencing it. The weight of their decision, the pain of their rejection, and the chill of their apathy. But allow me to tell you something. All of that uncertainty and hatred was never about you. It was about them. They wanted you to remain tiny so that they wouldn't have to confront the fact of your magnificence. They didn't want you to shine because they knew your light would reveal what they'd been hidden in the dark. And now, as you begin to rise, they're scurrying to find out how to get you back into the box they so carefully made for you. But it is too late. Your time has come. The world is not ready for your level of talent, but that doesn't matter. You are not created for their comfort zone, and no amount of manipulation or diversion can extinguish the fire inside of you. Before delving further into this reality, I need you to like and subscribe. Why? Because the more you connect with this message, you're doing more than simply improving yourself. You're assisting every chosen one out there who is lost, rejected, or misunderstood. You are telling the algorithm that this message is important and that the world cannot afford to continue ignoring the truth about who you are. The more we respond, the more we will rise together. Please take a minute, hit the like button, share this with people in need, because this is not just your war. It's all ours. Let us break through the noise. Let's show the world that the selected ones are here, and we're not going away. Now, I want to ask you something. Have you ever pondered why your opponents seem to be more concerned with bringing you down than with their own success? It's because they see things you can't see yet. The power of being selected haunts them, rocks their foundations, and jeopardizes their position. Your potential is something they cannot imitate or control, which scares them. They understand that the minute you really embody your talent, everything changes. You've always had a talent, but now is the moment for you to take ownership of it. The war they fought against you was never about little battles. It was about avoiding the inevitable. Your climb to glory. They are terrified of the strength that has always been inside you, a force that they have tried desperately to repress, but which is now resurfacing stronger than ever. Your talent was never a curse. They had always dreaded this weapon the most. The world attempted to keep you concealed, to make you question yourself. But now is the moment to show them what you're made of. So now it's time to embrace your excellence and claim your talent. Are you ready to break free from the bonds of doubt and outperform those who underestimated you? Drop 77 in the comments if you are ready to quiet the critics and take what is rightly yours. This quest is not simply about survival. It's about dominance, and you're going to discover how. Now let's go deeply into the reality of who you are. Step by step, believe me, if you are genuinely a chosen one, you will feel compelled to remain with us until the end. What you're going to learn will alter everything. Let me begin. First and foremost, they referred to you as insane. They are now watching as you triumph. They labeled you insane, a dreamer, a fool, pursuing unrealistic ideals. They scoffed at your goals, derided your enthusiasm, and rejected your vision as just wishful thinking. But now look at yourself. They're seeing you triumph and can only sit there in startled silence. They realize they had been mistaken all along. They watch you ascend, and your dreams become a reality, and it's too late for them to turn back. They cannot retract the words they said, the doubts they created, or the falsehoods they circulated about you. But now it is their time to question everything. The fact is that they never saw you as a genius. And this is what scares them the most. They feared your grandeur, and now it haunts them. How many times have people told you that your ideas were ridiculous, your aspirations were too great, and you would never succeed? You know who they are. The individuals who attempted to break you. They derided your vision because they couldn't see what was inside of you. Those folks were terrified of what you may become. They saw brightness in you. They knew it would unveil their evil side. So they categorized you as insane. They couldn't understand the power you were going to unleash. They believed that by labeling you insane, they could silence you, make you question yourself, and compel you to conform to their tiny, predictable world. But here's the fact. They were incorrect, and now you're live evidence of their failure. Every minute you spent questioning yourself, every setback, every betrayal, every time you felt like you couldn't go on, was all part of your journey. Those who ridiculed and dismissed your potential are now watching in bewilderment, as you have seen. They assumed you were nothing. However, they can no longer deny your greatness. Your talent is something that cannot be disguised. It is rising to the surface and cannot be stopped. And it is the truth. They never had the ability to break you. They were just hoping you'd give up before realizing who you actually are. Consider the tales of people who altered the world. When Steve Jobs transformed the technology business, he was labeled as insane. People scoffed at the concept of having personal computers in every household. They feared he had lost his mind. But what they didn't comprehend was that his vision was unconstrained by their restrictions. He was seeing a future that they couldn't understand. And now, Apple is one of the world's most powerful businesses, and Jobs is regarded as one of the greatest inventors of all time. But even as he was establishing the empire that would transform the globe, his adversaries continued to ridicule, disbelieve, and believe he was nothing more than a crazy. And now their silence screams more than their words ever could. Nikola Tesla, too, was laughed at, mocked, and rejected. He established the basis for modern electricity. Throughout his life, he was impoverished, alone, and misunderstood. His talent was so far ahead of its time that the world couldn't understand it. However, Tesla's legacy is today considered one of the greatest in history. People bear his name with pride, but at the time, people felt he was insane. They didn't recognize the brilliance because they lacked the ability to see what he saw. He was insane. However, his lunacy flipped the world upside down. You too are following in their ways. They could not grasp your vision, determination, or reluctance to settle. They wanted you to give up. They wanted you to fail because your genius challenged them. But they didn't realize you were made for this. You were picked for this. Your dreams were never too great. Their grasp of what was conceivable was too limited. And now the world is watching as you overcome your narrow-minded limits. Ask yourself how many times they've made you feel inadequate. How many times have you been encouraged to play it safe and quit dreaming too big, to reduce your expectations? They said you couldn't possibly be setting yourself up for disappointment. But what they didn't see was that you weren't playing their game. You were constructing your own. And now they're seeing you play it better than they ever imagined possible. Your detractors are watching your rise from the sidelines, helpless to do anything except observe. They are unable to touch you. They cannot stop you. The more people questioned you, the more you prove them wrong. That insults their doubts and skepticism. They were just fuel for your fire. When they stated you couldn't do it, you took a step forward. Every time they attempted to push you down, you came back stronger. They believed they could break you, but instead they made you stronger, more focused, more determined. And now you're showing them precisely what they overlooked. But here's the most powerful part. They still cannot see it. They still do not comprehend why you are winning. Why are you succeeding? Why aren't you backing down? They believe it is fortunate that it is a fluke. But you know the truth. It was never about luck. It was always about fate. You were always destined for this. The world did not choose you by chance. Your strength was encoded in your very DNA. And now you're making the world aware of it. Even if they were too blind to perceive it before. Consider all the times they advised you to remain in your lane, to stop reaching for the stars, and to stop believing you were unique. They attempted to keep you tiny and make you question your vision. But when you climb, their words fall apart. They cannot stop you, and they're recognizing that they never had the authority to hold you back in the first place. You are the storm they didn't see coming, and now that it's here, they can only watch as it reshapes everything in its path. But let us be clear, this is just the beginning. Your adventure is not done. The best is yet to come, and as you climb, there will be more individuals who want to bring you down and make you question yourself. They'll continue to label you insane. They will still attempt to convince you that your ideas are unachievable. But you know better. You have seen what you are capable of. Nothing will stop you now. Every talent throughout history has endured scorn. Every brilliant intellect has been labeled mad before their genius was acknowledged. Your opponents will constantly attempt to make you feel like you don't belong. They will attempt to keep you quiet in order to obscure the light. But as you progress, they'll understand they were never in charge. You are always the one with the power, and the rest of the world is starting to realize this. So let them watch. Let them be shocked. Let them sit silently. You continue to make your mark, because the reality is you're no longer the person they questioned. You're the person they dread, and there's nothing they can do right now. Your talent is here to stay. Number 2, your gift was never intended for others to comprehend. Your gift was never intended for others to comprehend. This is a difficult truth, but it is the type of truth that can set you free. If you've spent your whole life trying to convince people to notice your genius, distinct vision, or remarkable skill, it's time to quit. The fact that they don't comprehend you demonstrates the true essence of your brilliance. True brilliance does not fit into tidy little categories. It does not follow the norms or routes established by civilization. It is disruptive, it is quite strong, it is unpleasant, and more crucially, it is often misconstrued. The world tends to reward conformity. It rewards those who play by the rules, who stick to the tried and true route, and who fit neatly into society's expectations and restrictions. But genuine excellence, true excellence, does not follow trends. It does not seek acceptance from those who are satisfied with mediocrity. Instead, it makes its own path, even if that road is difficult to follow and causes others discomfort. You, my friend, embody that type of brilliance. Your gift was never intended for individuals who are mired in traditional thinking. Your brilliance was intended to shake things up, to smash down boundaries, and create something new. Think about it. Every individual who has altered the world has actually changed. It was formerly thought to be crazy, quirky, or insane. Steve Jobs, he was a visionary, and some questioned his sanity. However, he changed the way we live and interact with technology. Nikola Tesla, his theories concerning alternating current and wireless energy were sneered upon. However, now his technologies power our globe. Albert Einstein, he was regarded as an outsider, if not an outcast, throughout his lifetime. But now, he is considered as one of history's greatest thinkers. What do all of these famous figures have in common? They did not fit inside the traditional mold. They did not obey the regulations. They had no regard for the views of people who could not see their vision. They perceived the world differently, so they modified it. You are no different. If your ideas, vision, or purpose are not consistent with what others anticipate or understand, that's because you weren't supposed to be average. You were never intended to fit in with the crowd. You were created to stand out, like a diamond amid a sea of stones. There is something special about you, something about which the rest of the world is just now becoming aware. The fact that others cannot perceive it, that is not your issue. It is theirs. And attempting to make them comprehend, to fit your exceptional vision into their limited perspective of the world, can only lead to frustration. They are incapable of comprehending it since it is not intended for them. Your gift is larger than theirs. Stop looking for affirmation from those who won't grasp your concept. They didn't understand what Tesla was saying about wireless energy. They could not understand Jobs' vision of a computer in every house. When Einstein presented his theory of relativity, guess what? They won't understand when you unleash your talent. That is all right. You do not need their approval to be great. The cosmos did not give you your vision because it was designed to be comprehended by everyone. It gave it to you because you were selected to bring it into being. You were given a gift that is much too great for most people to understand. Let's get things straight. Being misunderstood is not indicative of failure. It's a symbol of excellence. The world only understands what has been tried and verified by the majority. However, great brilliance does not wait for others to catch up. It forges forward, frequently on its own, until the rest of the world catches up. Consider the great innovations, revolutionary ideas, and world-changing movements. They were formerly seen as impossible, foolish, or even hazardous. However, those who ventured to take the route that others could not see made the unthinkable possible. They didn't require confirmation since their gift was never intended for the typical person. It was designed to go beyond the usual. You were born with a fire inside you, a gift that has to be seen, that has to be heard, and it will alter everything. However, others around you, including family, friends, colleagues, and even strangers, may not understand. That doesn't make your present any less effective. It makes it uncommon. You were never supposed to blend in with them since your talent was intended to tear down barriers and establish new areas where others could only dream of going. The fact that they don't grasp it is evidence that you're on a different road. They may not grasp the way, but it will ultimately leave them in amazement. Imagine a diamond. It begins as a rough stone buried deep under the Earth's surface, far apart from the shallow, predictable world of pebbles and sand. To the ordinary individual, it is just another rock. But to those who grasp its worth, it's an invaluable item capable of piercing through everything and shining brighter than any other jewel. That is what your gift is. It is a gem in the rough. And the world does not always understand how to appreciate it at first. However, those who are supposed to see it, who have the vision to realize its brightness, will arrive. And when they do, they will understand that what they thought was wild and unattainable was really exactly what they needed all along. So quit looking for affirmation from those who will never see the worth in your originality. Stop attempting to impose your amazing perspective on their mundane reality. Your gift was never intended for others to comprehend. It was intended for those few who can see the larger picture. They will assist you in making your concept a reality. You are a pioneer, not a follower. You are a leader and not a follower. The world may not understand you now, but it will. When your vision transforms everything, all you have to do is keep going ahead. Continue to believe in your talent and follow the road that was particularly created for you. because you were designed to stand out and nothing can dull your radiance. Number 3, they assumed you were weak, but you were just born different. They assumed you were weak, a pushover, and easy to control or ignore. They saw your quiet moments, your times of seclusion, and your patience. And they mistook this for weakness. But they were mistaken. They couldn't see what was within you. They couldn't grasp the scope of your potential, the strength of your perseverance, or the clarity of your vision. They believed they could break you and make you conform to their will, but all they did was misjudge you. And when you climb, they are left in the dust, watching you prove them incorrect at every step. The fact is that you have adversaries, those who attempted to hold you down. They never grasped what made you unique. They noticed your peaceful attitude and concluded it was a weakness. They assumed that since you were neither loud or confrontational, you lacked the strength to last the distance. But they didn't grasp that your power isn't derived from fitting into the mold others see. It stems from something deeper, beyond their comprehension. Your strength was never supposed to be gaudy or evident. It was always there, silently simmering under the surface, waiting to burst at the right time. They saw vulnerability. You saw clarity. They believed you lacked the will to fight back. But in reality, you were just building power and waiting for the proper opportunity to attack. You were never supposed to fight through noise or rage. Instead, you were born with the capacity to persevere, wait, and watch while the world misjudged you. You knew that while they were busy categorizing you as weak, you were quietly preparing for the time when their doubts would crumble around them. It's time to acknowledge that their doubts, mocking, and dismissals were not an indication of your inadequacies. They were evidence of your grandeur. Every time someone undressed you, every time they made you feel inadequate, you became stronger. They pushed you further within yourself, challenging you to explore the limits of your resistance. They pushed you away because they couldn't comprehend you. They couldn't see the tempest inside you, the storm of skill, vision, and tenacity that would eventually transform everything. They were so intent on breaking you that they missed the inside progress. And now, as you ascend, they can't deny that they underestimated you. They assumed you were weak. They expected you to fold. However, they failed to recognize that their criteria did not determine your power. You were not supposed to fit within their box. You were not designed to conform to their expectations. You were created to break down boundaries, challenge systems, and overcome the constraints that others attempted to put on you. Their uncertainty was only the trigger for your development. When you are underestimated, you get a gift. People ignore you. They disregard you and fail to appreciate your full potential. And in that space, you might quietly develop, mature, and discover the strength they never expected. The true strength is in the capacity to remain calm and focused when the world attempts to persuade you that you don't matter. Because you don't give in to their doubts, and you don't allow their view of you influence your reality. You become unstoppable. The fire they believed would never start flames hotter than they could have dreamed. Your resilience, your capacity to endure, is a force beyond their control. The more people questioned you, the more you created. The more they attempted to knock you down, the stronger you became. Every time they said no, you figured out a way to say yes. When they claimed you couldn't, you proved them wrong. Their doubts did not make you weaker. They made you wiser. They drove you to go deeper inside yourself and understand how strong you really are. They attempted to keep you tiny, but all they accomplished was to provide the ideal circumstances for you to flourish beyond their wildest expectations. It's time to change the script. Every time someone questioned you, every time someone attempted to dismiss you, they unintentionally pulled you closer to your authentic self. You were not weak. You were just being honed. You were like gold in the fire, being tried and sculpted into something unique and exceptional. The difficulties they put you through did not shatter you. They forged you. They made you stronger. And now, when you assert your authority, they will have no option but to accept the force you have become. Ask yourself this. How many times have you heard, "No, you still found a way to go ahead"? How many times has someone tried to bring you down only to discover that you were still stronger than before? Those instances were not setbacks. They were stepping stones. They were the moments that laid the unshakable foundation on which you now stand. They were the times when you realized how resilient you are. You are not designed to be weak. You were never intended to be a passive observer in your own life. You were born with the strength of a warrior, the vision of a leader, and the fortitude to face every problem that came your way. Every time they said you weren't good enough or couldn't make it, they were unintentionally providing you the ability to prove them incorrect. Their reservations fueled your determination. Their efforts to keep you down just pushed you higher. And now they are in awe of your might. So let's put the record straight. You were never feeble. You were simply born differently. You were designed for more than they could ever fathom. And now, as you climb, they'll have to watch as you join the greats. You were never intended to blend in. You were always supposed to stand out, to rise above and demonstrate to the world the power that exists inside you. Let them believe they know you. Let them continue to mistrust you. The fact is that they had no notion who you were, and they have no clue what happens next. Number 4, they cannot replicate your light. That is why they despise it. This is the terrible fact you must face. The world will always attempt to duplicate what it does not comprehend. But no matter how hard they try, they will never be able to capture the brilliance that you possess. No matter how much they copy, study, or attempt to mirror your motions, they will never be able to replicate the unique spark you possess. Your brilliance is more than simply ideas and thoughts. It's about an inner fire that they'll never be able to ignite. You were born with something that cannot be duplicated. The ability to create, inspire, and lead in unique ways. They'll attempt to steal what you have. They'll look at your ideas and vision and believe they can pull a few strings to make them their own. They will replicate your movements, words, and manner. But no matter what they do, they will never have the same spark that you have. And it is the harsh reality that eats away at them, the inability of others to imitate your essence. They will take your ideas and attempt to make them their own. But no matter how hard they labor, they will never be able to convey the depth, uniqueness, and impact of your vision. No one can take your greatness because it comes from you. Think about it. They may attempt to emulate the surface, concepts, or style, but it is impossible to replicate the actual substance of your light. You aren't merely duplicating someone else's ideas. You are making something entirely new, something that only you could possibly bring into the world. You have an individuality that no one else can match. That's why they despise it. They are not afraid of the notions. It's the truth that your thoughts originate from a pure, real, and untouchable source. They are afraid that no matter how much they study and watch you, they will never be able to capture the spirit of your work. Your ideas and creativity are uniquely yours. It's like a fire. They may strive to steal your flame, but they will never realize that the fire you bear cannot be replicated or stolen. It is an uncontrollable force. It's a flame that does not need anyone's permission to exist. It's like attempting to remove a spark from a wildfire when people try to imitate it. They may get a spark, but they will never be able to restart the real flame. They will never be able to possess the power you have inside your light. They can never keep it. They can never manipulate it. Your genius is much too great to shout, and it is too unique for anyone to just absorb and make their own. But why are they doing it? Why do they waste their time attempting to duplicate something is not theirs? They dread what you represent. They are afraid of being outshined. They are concerned that if you reach your full potential, There will be no space for them in the limelight. They need your light to fade so that their shadows stay comfy. They like to be the center of attention, and the thought of you stealing their thunder frightens them. It's not simply about ideas. It is about their ego. They cannot take the prospect of being overshadowed by someone who is genuinely unique, someone whose light shines brighter than their own. They are afraid that if you succeed, they will be overlooked and become insignificant. It's a harsh fact. Their hate derives from their fear. They're terrified of what you symbolize. You are a live example of how anybody, regardless of background or suffering, can rise, shine, and be remarkable. And that scares them, because when you shine, it reveals their own poor vision. When you rise, it reveals that they have been lurking in the shadows, attempting to take parts and pieces from others. Brilliance to make up for the fact that they've never been able to develop something unique on their own. You're a mirror that reflects everything they dread about themselves. Therefore, they want to knock you down. However, they're unable to do so. Regardless of how much they try, they will never take your glow. They will never have the brilliance that comes from inside you. They may attempt to emulate your movements, but they'll always be one step behind. Your brightness comes from deep inside. It cannot be replicated. It cannot be sold or borrowed. It is yours, and this is what makes you unstoppable. They may attempt to steal your ideas, but they will never possess your light. This is why you must embrace your talent without apologizing. The world will always want to belittle what it does not comprehend. However, your task is not to seek approval from those who will never recognize your value. Your task is to keep shining, to keep moving ahead, and to let the world see how your brightness gets larger, brighter, and more unmistakable with each passing day. You were never intended to fit inside their restricted perspective. You were created to be a replica of anybody else. You were created to create, disrupt, and wow the world. It never anticipated such brilliance. Allow them to despise it. Let them attempt to replicate it. The more they try, the more they reveal how vulnerable they are to your light. And each time they fail, they will only demonstrate one thing. You remain precisely who you were, always meant to be. Your talent is yours alone. Nobody can take it from you. They cannot replicate your light. They will never be able to ignite the fire inside you, no matter how hard they try. They can only watch as your brightness shines and illuminates the world around you. And as they watch, they will eventually learn the reality. Their dread was always based on their inability to fully be you. Number 5, the world fears what it cannot control. That is why they fear you. This is the basic truth. Everyone who has ever attempted to stifle or ruin your path understands your strength, creativity, and vision. These things frighten them. Why? Because you carry a force that cannot be controlled, confined, or twisted to anyone's will. You are a real disruptor. The world around you is constructed on control systems, which depend on individuals to keep in line, follow the script, and accept what they are taught. And then there you are, someone who refuses to obey the rules, whose views threaten the very basis of the world they have fought so hard to create. That is why they fear you. You are the, which is usually dreaded since it is uncontrollable. Each time you rise, every step towards your goal upsets the carefully built status quo. They cannot foretell what you will do next. They cannot contain the brilliance you bring to the table. And that is precisely what scares them. Their world, power, and comfort are under attack. When you first go into yours, they expect you to be modest, quiet, and never exceed their expectations. When you do, it serves as a mirror for their shortcomings, mediocrity, and incapacity to produce anything unique. You are evidence that they have been locked in a system that encourages conformity rather than invention. And it scares the crap out of them. Let's put it this way. You are the hurricane that shakes the foundation, the spark that starts the revolution they didn't see coming. They're accustomed to their surroundings being predictable and controlled. But you are unpredictable. You're the mayhem they didn't expect. You are the one who dares to break free from the constraints they have set on your potential. The minute you realize your power and stop obeying their rules, their whole life begins to crumble piece by piece. They want to control you because they are afraid of what would happen if you understand you are uncontrollable. When you cease allowing them to control your path, the whole system is jeopardized. They do not dislike you because you are weak. They despised you because you reminded them of everything they couldn't control. Your sincerity, vision, and unwillingness to comply. These are their darkest nightmares. Keep moving ahead, because the more you break their serenity, the more you demonstrate that your power was always intended to be released. Number 6, they have been waiting for you to fail. But failure was never ingrained in your DNA. They've been following you since you started your trek, hoping you'll fall, stumble, and give up. They've talked behind your back, telling themselves you weren't strong enough to carry the weight of your aspirations. They thought you'd crumble under the strain, breaking and returning to the version of yourself they could control. But now you stand tall, unshaken, and stronger than ever. You did not merely survive their assaults, you flourished. The fact is that your opponents are fascinated with your demise. They've spent so much energy praying you won't make it, waiting for you to make a mistake. Why? Because as you rise, you highlight their own flaws. You make them feel smaller. Your achievement is a direct threat to everything they have created. And every time they watch you conquer a challenge, they see you pushing through pain, uncertainty, and difficulty. It burns them from the inside out. They thought you would falter. They hoped that you would give up. But they didn't comprehend that you were never designed to fail. Your resilience is your most powerful weapon. Every setback, every difficulty, and every moment of gloom was not an indication of loss. It demonstrated your strength, while others broke under the same strain. You persevered even when the world attempted to break you. You came back stronger, more determined, more focused than ever before. They cannot take it away from you. Their assaults, misgivings, and sabotage, they simply made you stronger, more indestructible. You're like steel being forged in fire. Each fight simply makes you stronger. Let's be clear. Failure was not a part of your tale. It was not part of your destiny. You were intended to excel right from the start. You were born with the ability to rise above, conquer, and break through every difficulty, betrayal, and disappointment. Each was only a stepping stone on your way to greatness. You were never intended to fail. You were intended to ascend, rule, and show the world what happens when a chosen one refuses to give up. Failure is not your destiny. It is theirs. Your destiny has always been success. You were created to win. Keep proving them incorrect. Number 7, the more they questioned you, the stronger you became. They always looked at you and said you would never make it. Every time they talked behind your back, casting doubts and disparaging your abilities, they were just fanning the fire inside you. Their incredulity did not break you. It sparked something deeper. It increased your determination to prove them incorrect, to demonstrate that they were idiots for consistently underestimating you. Every word of doubt, sarcastic gaze, every sneer, they did not defeat you. They made you stronger. Your strength stems from the fact that you refused to let their ideas define you, whilst others would have crumpled under pressure. You seized their misgivings and utilized them as fire to soar higher than they could have dreamed. They believed that their criticism would crush your spirit and drive you to doubt yourself. However, their efforts to discourage you just fueled your drive. Each insult and doubtful remark added fuel to the flames, making your determination burn even hotter. Think about it. When others doubt you, It's not just about your ability. Your strength is being tested. And instead of allowing their comments weaken you, use them to alter you. You transformed your hatred, envy, and unbelief into fuel to keep moving ahead. You didn't just prove them incorrect. You exceeded their expectations. What they feared would knock you down really catapulted you to greatness. They attempted to snuff out your flame, extinguishing the spark of your potential. But all they did was make you an uncontrollable inferno. Their attempts to repress you have backfired. You're no longer merely a flash of light. You become a roaring fire that can't be controlled. You're blazing through everything that was holding you back, breaking past every barrier, hesitation, and impediment. And now they watch helplessly as you climb higher and higher, stronger than they could have anticipated. Their skepticism was a mistake. It fueled your change. And now, as you stand on top of your mountain, they can no longer dispute the reality. You were always destined to ascend. You were always meant for greatness. Their skepticism just strengthened your resolve. Keep blazing, rising, and proving them incorrect. The more they questioned you, the stronger you became. They will have to live with that fact for the rest of their lives. Number 8, they'll never realize the cost of your triumph. The world is looking at you right now, at your accomplishments, accolades, and success, and they believe they have the whole picture. They see triumph, glory, and the limelight. But what they don't see and will never comprehend is the cost you paid to get here. They do not see the blood, sweat, and tears that go into each restless night. Every sacrifice you made, every time you push yourself to the utmost. While everyone else tells you to stop, they don't witness the silent struggles and internal conflicts, the never-ending fight to remain strong while everything around you is coming apart. They only see the ultimate product, the prize, but they'll never know how much it really cost you. Success is more than simply what you perceive on the surface. It's about what transpired behind the scenes. Moments when you were alone, questioned, and rejected. They do not know. How many times have you gotten up after being struck down? How many connections have you sacrificed? How many dreams did you have to let go of in order to pursue the one thing that was most important to you? They are not aware of the nights you sobbed, when you felt like quitting up, and the sacrifices you made while no one was looking. That's the reality of your path. The world sees the achievement, but they will never know the complete tale of how we got here. This was not a simple journey. You did not have a silver spoon. You didn't have a map that showed you precisely where to go. You did not have opportunity handed to you on a silver platter. You have to battle for every inch. You were the underdog, often ignored, underestimated, and rejected. Nonetheless, you continued to push. You continued pushing ahead, even when the journey was difficult, even when nobody believed in you. Every sacrifice, rejection, and setback was only fuel for the fire that raged inside you. You did not let it defeat you. You allow it to strengthen you. You refused to give up when others expected you to. And now, as you celebrate your achievement, you are enjoying the benefits of a trip that most people would never dare to take. Most people would never dare to pay a price for achievement as you did. And that is precisely why they will never grasp it. They will never grasp the grit, resilience, or heart. It takes time to get to this position. They will never grasp the cost of your successes or the sacrifices you made to pursue your aspirations. But you do. And this is why you may be proud of your accomplishments. Because you have earned it. You battled for it. And now it is yours to keep. Number 9, you have always been a genius. Now is the moment to take ownership. For much too long, you've concealed your talent. Perhaps out of dread. Perhaps you waited until the appropriate time. But guess what? The world is catching up to what you've always known. You're destined for greatness. The time for waiting is past. The moment has come to walk into your full authority and accept your talent without apology. The world does not need any more individuals who are shy, hesitant, or seeking permission to shine. What the world needs is someone who embraces their brilliance without fear or doubt. And that person is you. You have spent far too long concealing your brightness. You've let doubts, anxieties, and the opinions of others hold you back. You've been terrified that stepping completely into your authority will result in criticism, rejection, or worse. People would finally realize your true potential, and they would be unable to handle it. But here is the reality. Those concerns are nothing more than shackles you've wrapped around yourself. You were never intended to play little. You were never supposed to remain in the shadows, dimming your light for the sake of others. You were supposed to shine, lead, create, and demonstrate to the world how much power you have always had. It is time to cease waiting for permission. You've already received all you need to succeed. You've already been given the power, vision, and genius to transform the world. The only thing that stands between you and greatness is your choice to quit hiding. Stop waiting for permission to proceed. Stop waiting for the world to catch up. You have spent your whole life preparing for this moment, and now is the moment to claim what is yours. The world needs you more than ever. The world needs your vision, ideas, bravery, and talent. There is no longer time for hesitation. There is no longer time for indecision. You spent enough time on the sidelines, wondering whether you're worthy of greatness. Yes, you are. You've always been deserving. Your talent was never intended to be concealed. It was intended to be shared with the whole globe. So embrace your magnificence right now. Stop holding back. The world is waiting for you to ascend. And now that you've seen it for yourself, it's time to embrace your power, genius, and future. No longer hiding. The world needs you. And now is your turn to shine. Step into your brilliance and let nothing stop you. So, selected ones, the fact is that they never had influence over you. It has always been in your hands. Now is the moment to take control of your future. Stop seeking validation and ascend uncontested. Logistically, don't wait for permission to embrace your brilliance, because the world is waiting for you to demonstrate your true capabilities. Now is the moment to shine. Like, subscribe, and share this message with those who need to hear it. The world may have questioned you, but now it's time for them to see your brilliance. Now go show them what you are made of. If you're enjoying the content on Pure Wisdom and find value in the messages we share, I encourage you to subscribe. Based on the latest analytics, 93.9% of viewers are watching without subscribing. By subscribing, you not only stay updated with new content, but also support the channel's growth, allowing us to continue spreading wisdom for the chosen ones. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an important message. Let's build this community together.